A lot of people, including myself, don't really buy new games at $70 when it comes out unless it's a very special game that they know is going to last a long time, like Tears of the Kingdom or, like a Call of Duty kind of game. It's going to last them like hundreds of hours. The reason why this isn't the norm is because of a very simple reason. Several reasons. Games nowadays, they're known to have bugs and glitches on day one of release. And they get patched with something to fix some issues, either day one or week one or month one or whatever. It gets fixed, like No Man's Sky. Like eventually, it gets fixed towards a competent game that should have been the way it was in the first place. But publishers behind the scenes, they want to get the game out as soon as possible for some reason, and they don't care about the user experience. They just need to make a quota for the financials. If you understood that, you're probably not watching this video, because that's exactly what's happening. They rush the games out there to make some more money on their bottom line. So it's sad that they've been doing that for like ever. But the earliest example of this one was I think PS1 with movie release tie-in games. They want to put a game out there related to the movie as quickly and as soon as possible to capitalize on the craze of the movie. And the game itself is absolute garbage. Because the game is like, what, a month or two of development? When it's supposed to be like at least a year or two of development to get the story right, to get the graphics right, to get the user experience right there, to get the bugs and glitches out of there. No, a couple of months at most. And people knew that like Thor, Spider-Man, Batman, all those kind of tie-in stuff there came out really, really quickly with a turnover, and the games were horrible. The good ones came out of nowhere. Like if a movie came out in like January, and then all of a sudden you get a game related to like the movie or the franchise character, it came out like in November. Like then you know it's going to be good because it's nowhere near the release date of the movie. That's kind of how game industry games are nowadays. You get like high budget games, like Last of Us or Ghost of Tsushima, Star Wars, that kind of stuff, and people don't want to buy it. Or Stellar Blade, of course, they don't want to buy it because they're afraid, and rightfully so, with history, that the publisher, or in this case for Stellar Blade, the console manufacturer, will console developer, probably better said, console developer, will insert something day one of release that they didn't want people to know about in the game. So they make promises and promises and promises, and then day one they take back all the promises, and it's for a worse user experience. No option for it. Just do what we say and deal with it. So you pay top dollar, you give the company top dollar for the game, and then in exchange for giving them, the company, top dollar, they give you a less fun experience. Is that right or wrong? There are, of course, exceptions to the rules, like Helldivers, but more often than not, you get game companies coming out with these massive games, and they don't want to give you what they promise. So smart people like myself don't buy games off rip, knowing how sneaky developers are, how sneaky publishers are, how sneaky game companies are. Never, 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 never again. Um, I only trust like Nintendo, and most people do trust Nintendo to come up with a full game without glitches, and just basically the whole game off rip for $70 or whatever, and maybe like a $10, $20 DLC down the line, like a year or something like later, like Breath of the Wild. But I don't really trust most game developing companies. When GTA 6 comes out, I don't trust Rockstar either. Especially with the way they've been milking GTA 5 for like 13 years, and how they haven't had any relevant game come out there since GTA 5. all these years later, and you come out with a remaster finally, with 10 years later, for San Andreas and Vice City and GTA 3, and that when it finally comes out after all these years there, bugs and glitches up the ass. Not only were the graphics freaking like barely serviceable, it was a lazy remaster, and you still get bugs and glitches in it as well. So why should I trust that GTA 6 is going to be a smooth, perfect experience off the jump? Why should I? Why should anybody actually believe that? So like when GTA 6 comes out, they're gonna milk the fuck out of that one too, and people gonna buy it up there. But I'm not stupid. I'm not gonna do that shit there. With Stellar Blade, same thing. I personally am getting the game used from someone else for like 40, $50 in about like a couple weeks, something like that. There, or my friend got it on digital. I'll probably get it from him. But I'm not paying for that game. I don't support. Number one, I don't support censorship, and especially day one censorship like Sony did. That was extremely disrespectful to fans. Extremely disrespectful. How can it be like we're not going to censor anything in the game like a week ago, a week prior, and then the day you released it, we're going to censor shit now? Fuck you. I'm only allowed a certain amount of curse words on YouTube, in case you didn't know. Like USA Network. Gotta watch Chucky, by the way. Anyway, so that is a horrible, horrible business practice. So I try to uh, give the big companies as little money as possible. I'll give it to the community, the people around me, but I really like giving it to the actual company that does this kind of nasty stuff there. My PS5, new, but I bought off secondhand. I have 5 PS5 games. I've only one game for a discounted price there was given to Sony. Everything else there was bought from somebody else. Final Fantasy 16, Final Fantasy Remake, Dead Space, and a few others or whatever. But like, yeah, I never really gave Sony any of my money. If you buy secondhand, you don't give it to them. You don't give it to the major company. You give it to or the developers either. You give it to the person who gave you the money, and that's it. So if they decide, if the top companies decide to say, hey, we're sorry, we're never going to do it again, I don't believe them. I don't believe them at all. I believe they're only going to do it for that time and then eventually go back to their old ways and being sneaky with their practices and stuff, if you will. Like, look at this shit right here. Sneaking ads in a game you already paid for. What the fuck's up with that? I got one more F bomb and then I gotta censor my shit fully. Um, so putting I had a nightmare about this. You like they developers or publishers or whatever you want to call them, for the norm, you buy a game at full price and then in the game is something that you can't pass unless you either pay them money or it's a forced ad interface. I had some issues with some PS5 games. When I was playing Dead Space Remake, there was some, no, not some, it was like one or two times, but there was a bug where like a monster went through the fucking ground and his tentacles were sticking up in the air, only the top part of his tentacles. The rest of his body was underneath the ground. I recorded it's on my thing, but I think I maybe put it on YouTube or whatever. But yeah, I was like, what the fuck is like you pay for it, you download the patch, and it's still glitchy as hell. I'm like, what is going on with these damn companies, bro? Let me know in the comments. Clack off.